Read number 7. Foamhenge must be destroyed. A number of years ago, I was at a festival. The festival organizer and her crew of talented elves spent hours and hours and hours, and probably megabucks, building a life-sized Stonehenge trillathon out of slats and stretched fabric. It looked very impressive in some ways, but in other ways, it was very, very wrong. The satirical name that we gave to it, of course, was Foamhenge, and it taught me a number of very interesting things about ritual. I realized that a 3-foot standing stone, so long as it was a real standing stone, would be infinitely more powerful than an entire Stonehenge made out of foam. Ritual is about the real. We have for far too long tended to treat paganism and pagan ritual in particular as if it were the Renaissance festival, as if it's a place of let's pretend that we're witches, let's pretend that magic is real, let's pretend that we're in a sacred place. So there we are in a real sacred place, standing on a ridge in the driftless area of southern Wisconsin, a very beautiful and sacred place in and of itself, and we're pretending to be on Salisbury Plain, 3,000 miles away. This is a problem with a lot of paganism, so that instead of actually being where we are and engaging with the sacredness of the place, we're not engaging the rest of the world. We're not engaging the natural world. We're not engaging anything real. What we are engaging is something in here. It's more of the internal human dialogue, the human mind talking to itself. Let's pretend. Well, that's not what gives you the sense of reality in ritual. Ritual deserves our best. Ritual deserves real flowers. Ritual deserves the genuine, because when we use the fake in our sacred workings, on some level we're aware that it's fake. We as pagans need to stop standing with our backs to the rest of the world. We need to open up our magic circles and turn out and face the rest of the world around us. I think of the God hole ritual, in which the standing pillar became the central pillar in conversation with the entire valley where it was. Our ritual needs to connect us with the rest of the world, not cut us off from it because we're only connecting with what's in here. A number of years ago, I was at a festival in a beautiful, beautiful site. The main ritual area was located on the shoulder of a hill, a bit down from the very top, not quite at the top of the shoulder in the east. There were 2 massive and incredibly beautiful pine trees, which framed the forest behind them, in the exact center of which was a path. If you turned around, you were facing a horizon at which the sun set. It was a beautiful place from which to watch the sunset. We did several sunset observances there. But instead of utilizing what the landscape was giving us, anyone or anything standing between those 2 pine trees received the framing of the entire landscape. And created a conversation with everything else that was visually present there. If someone had walked out of the forest down the path, emerged from the forest down the path, they would have been framed between those two pine trees. It was an entrance for a god, I'm telling you. But instead, these were pagans who were doing this, and so they chose the right place for the ritual circle. I will certainly give them that much. But at the top, almost directly between the two gigantic pine trees, they had a tent where you could have workshops. So that view was ruined. And worst of all, they had the 4 damn card tables with the goddamn schmatas on top. They were the quarter altars, of course, which were never used in ritual. They were a visual blot. They interrupted the landscape because I'm sure that they were oriented very precisely to compass north, south, east, and west. But because they interrupted, because they were skewed from the flow of the valley between the pine trees and the sunset point on the far horizon, they actually interrupted everything that was going on in the landscape. If the god appearing between the two pine trees was a conversation with the rest of the landscape, the quarter altars were an argument with the rest of the landscape. If you really need to have quarter altars, and I really think you never should, because they immediately take focus from what should be the central single focus of any good ritual. If you need to have them, for God's sakes, use standing stones, have posts, use something beautiful, use something that works with the rest of the landscape, use something real. Foam henge must be destroyed. Read 7. Foam henge must be destroyed.